I am 36 years old and this is kid number 6. So I'm probably gonna need to hop on TRT soon since my testosterone level is likely crashed. I mean, I'm so old, right? Hopefully that sounded stupid to you because it sounded pretty ridiculous to me, but unfortunately it seems like every other young fitness influencer is trying to convince himself that he's gonna need TRT when he gets old, like in his 30s, and the testosterone levels just crash. I mean, listen to this.
I'm not directly opposed to TRT at a certain point. Like, if you're like clearly in a healthy body fat range, you're clearly eating enough, and your testosterone's messed up, or if like you're older, like 30s, and it starts crashing, I'm not opposed to doing like 130 whatever milligrams, whatever how it works, like a week, to like stay in that like max 1,000 nanograms per deciliter range. I think that's perfectly fine, and I'm like cool with that. I think that could be healthy.
So why are young guys trying to convince themselves early on that they're going to need testosterone, that their testosterone levels are just going to crash when they hit their 30s? It doesn't make sense, but what it comes down to is unrealistic body expectations, because in the fitness community, the leaner you are, the more exposure you're going to get, the more people are going to want to be like you, buy your programs, buy your supplements, whatever products you're trying to sell, apps, all that kind of stuff. And so what are the two main things that are gonna negatively affect your testosterone? Two of the big ones, if you're natural, your body fat level, and then also sleep. So starting with the body fat percentage, I believe it was a little earlier or later on in the podcast, he said something like when he was super lean, abs in the veins, all that stuff, his testosterone levels were like 200 nanograms per deciliter. And now that he's been at a more healthy body fat percentage, they've been up in the 600s. So just from this example right here of him, you can see you feel worse, you're having to be constantly restrictive, doing all kinds of extra exercise, extra cardio, just to try to look lean so you can sell even more programs. If you want to do that, that's fine, but it is going to negatively affect your health. But then when you get that more healthy looking body fat percentage, what he in some videos has called himself as fat looking.
McDonald's last night, and the night before that I had Taco Bell, and then I had crumble cookie. It's honestly been tragic. This is how we're looking. 100% gained some fat. I'm just fat right now. I've been eating hella. They're small.
You still look better than probably most of the audience that's watching you. But then his testosterone levels are up in a normal range, up in 600. So I think between like 409 something is the normal range, which I don't even know what mine is, but I don't really feel a need to check because I feel fine, I sleep good, I'm still progressing in the gym, working out. Again, I'm 36 years old, so I'm still getting better. I've been working out pretty hard for 5 years now, so my testosterone level is likely probably close to the highest it's been since I've started working out and pushing myself even harder. The second thing is the sleep aspect. Say you need 7 or 8 hours of sleep. If you only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep in one night, I've seen research that shows your testosterone levels can range the next day between 100 to 200 nanograms per deciliter lower than normal just from having bad sleep. So those combination of, say you're super lean, then you're not getting good sleep because you're super lean, you're waking up needing to eat, but then you don't want to eat because you want to stay lean, and it's just a cycle. You're in a bad place, so you're feeling bad, you're not going to gain more muscle really. If you already have a physique you want like he does, then you can just try to maintain that not feeling great, but then selling more stuff, and if that's what you want to do, that's cool. Well, now you're injecting testosterone, so what's going to happen? Say you're on 100 milligrams a week, but you go to the doctor and they're giving you 200 milligrams every 2 weeks. They go, pin it in, now your testosterone level gets really high, and then it's going to get lower and lower, and you're going to feel probably a lot worse by the time 2 weeks later it's time to get your next one. So you actually have pretty big ranges in your testosterone level then still, but then maybe you go sooner, you do it once a week. So 100 milligrams once a week, and I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't know what they are, just from what I hear other people talk about. But then your levels will be more stable because then you won't have as huge a spike and it's only 7 days at a time. But then say maybe you go every 3 days or you do it every 2 days, well then your levels are going to get a lot more stable because you're getting a lower amount in more often, but then you're having to pin yourself with needles a whole lot more, which can introduce infection and other issues there. But with that, your testosterone level in that situation is going to stay pretty much normal. You don't get as good a sleep, you're not going to feel great, but your testosterone level remains the same. You get super lean, your testosterone level remains the same because you're getting that from an exogenous source, so it's not going to be affected. But then you're also having to do that for the rest of your life. And that essentially makes it easier to stay lean, stay shredded like you want to do, probably even start building more muscle because you have those super stable testosterone levels. And if you get on TRT, but like a lot of these people are doing, the high levels to try to get to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter, like he said, well, now you're pushing the envelope of getting into steroid cycles, and you're gonna be building muscle while, okay, maybe you don't get as good a sleep, or you're not eating great, or whatever, you're super lean, you're still able to put on muscle. And so it's kind of the dream, you know, I can keep my business running and get super lean, look the way I want, just the whole vanity aspect of it. But you gotta ask yourself, is it actually healthy? Because if your testosterone level is going to be crashing or getting really low because you're super lean, you're not getting good sleep, well, is just injecting yourself with drugs really the answer to that? Well, now I can do those unhealthy habits because I'm injecting testosterone. It's probably still not good for your body overall to get less sleep and to be super lean like that. But then why does everyone think that people's testosterone levels are just gonna crash now because you're in your 30s? That's old. What's something that's changed over the last 50 years? Because there probably weren't a lot of people injecting testosterone aside from bodybuilders 50 years ago. But what has changed? Probably people's diets. Everyone wants to just go and take some drugs, shoot some testosterone or other steroids or SARMs in your body to get that look you want as fast as you can without even optimizing every other part of your life. Someone thinks, oh, I can take this TRT and it's gonna make me feel great, but who cares that I'm overweight? Who cares that I'm not sleeping very much, or maybe possibly underweight? So rather than dialing in the things you can that really affect it, like make sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Make sure that your diet's in check. If you're overweight, that you're losing weight. Take those steps to naturally get to where your body is where it needs to be. There's no way you're gonna convince me that just because you get to 30 or 40, your testosterone levels are gonna just crash. It's kind of like metabolism. I hear people say, oh man, I can't eat like that anymore. I remember I was a teenager, I could eat whatever I want, but now my metabolism's just slow because I'm in my 30s. I eat more now than I ever have in my life. I used to weigh 160 pounds and I ate about 2,000 calories a day. Now I'm 190 and I'm eating about 3,000 calories a day to maintain my weight with the amount of muscle I've added and the activity I do. But what happens when you're younger? Those guys that say their metabolism slowed. I was in high school, I was playing football, I was playing soccer, playing some kind of sports and doing it, games on the weekends, practicing every day, burning a ton of calories. So guess what? Aside from just growing through puberty, you're also exercising all the time, doing tons of cardio with your sport. So you're eating whatever you want and it doesn't really matter. And then what happens? You graduate, you go to college, maybe you continue playing sports for a while, or you go get a job and now you're sitting at 9 to 5 like most people, sitting at a desk, doing your computer work, but you're still eating the same. But what changed? You're not moving as much anymore. So your metabolism didn't really slow, you just slowed down because you're not actually doing anything aside from going to work, sitting there for 8 hours, and then going home and sitting on the TV and watching dinner. So if you want your metabolism to not slow, then you just gotta keep active. And that's why I want to build more muscle, because you are able to eat more. It gives you more options when you're out eating places. I can go eat a big meal at Chick-fil-A or some restaurant, 1,000 calories. That's only a third of my day's calories rather than half. It's not as big a hit as it used to be 4 years ago. But people's diets in general, what are they eating? Fast food all the time. I was just talking about Chick-fil-A, but I try to get the more healthy stuff when I do go out to places like that. Grilled chicken on salads, low calorie dressings, things like that. I actually have videos showing what are the best Chick-fil-A options if you want to check that out, as well as a lot of other fast food places. But lots of processed foods, microwavable dinners, all kinds of unhealthy things. And this is what people are putting into their bodies, and then they're also not exercising and doing more and more jobs that don't require much physical labor. So guys, testosterone's probably going down because they're not using their bodies. I remember when I first started working out legs, it was crazy. Like everything else, my other muscles just seemed to start getting stronger way faster just because I was working out my legs too, squatting a couple times a week, heavy, hard to failure for multiple sets. And I've seen research showing that working out your legs is going to boost your testosterone in your body naturally too. And I didn't work out my legs really at all for the first 30 years of my life. So go figure, my testosterone levels are probably higher now. And now that we're talking about it so much, I probably will get it checked just to have an idea, to see a baseline of where I am now. And then maybe when I'm 40, I can do another video and be like, look, my testosterone levels didn't crash, or maybe they did. Maybe I'll need TRT. Who knows? But let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think your testosterone levels are gonna crash? Or for you older folks, guys my age, we're old, or even older, 40s, 50s, what's your experience? What are your testosterone levels? Do you get them checked regularly, or are you just like, hey, I feel good, I exercise, I eat right, I don't feel a need to even know what my testosterone levels are because my body's the way I want it to look, I'm being healthy, let me know. I'd be interested to see. But check out @Camber Fitness. I post there, lots of stuff. And just remember, if you want to try to be shredded, it's going to affect you negatively. It might look cool, but it's really not worth it. And no one really cares except you. I mean, what, you're going to take your shirt off at the beach and someone might see? Or are you going to walk around with your shirt off in public? Like, no one's going to see except you when you work out. So does it really matter? Just be healthy. Be at a healthy body fat percentage where your body feels good. You're not starving all the time. You're not constantly thinking about food, because if you're always thinking about your next meal, super hungry, it's probably a sign you're too low on the body fat level, and that will negatively affect your testosterone. And I will say, based on the fact that we just had our 6th kid, I'd say my testosterone levels are probably pretty good. See you on the next one.